Good day, and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I'm your host, the voice of reason. So, in today's episode of the ongoing conflict inside of the Horn of Africa, I wanted to take a moment and compare and contrast some news headlines. So, this morning, I woke up and decided to look at a few headlines from around the world. And in these headlines, the top story was what is taking place inside of Myanmar. And within the last 24 hours have been the most bloodiest day within that period of conflict inside of that nation. Uh, there has been hundreds of people killed, and it has made some of the top headlines of news outlets from around the world. And what is going on inside of Myanmar is absolutely heinous. When you look at the videos coming out, small children being shot due to indiscriminate gunfire by the Myanmar soldiery and police that seem to be shooting anyone who breaks a certain curfew. And again, that is measured in the hundreds. Now, at the same time, inside of Tigray, with just in about 10 days when the conflict started, local priests in the town of Adigrat, you can see here on my map, have documented more than 1,151 people who were executed by Eritrean soldiers. Now, that number is much higher than anything that is occurring inside of Myanmar. Not only that, that is just one incident that has taken place in and around the town of Adigrat. There has been many, possibly worse, uh, massacres and human rights violations throughout the rest of the country. There has been reported violations in Tigray. There has been violations. Obviously, we have heard extremely atrocious violations in Axum, and then obviously running down the north-south corridor all the way down to Mekelle and then Alamata. But again, it just kind of shows you how the mainstream media picks and chooses what it wants to talk about. And in this case, this morning, it was Myanmar. And yes, it was, uh, again, atrocious, and I don't want to try and discount nothing that is going on in Myanmar. But at the same time, equally and greater activities are occurring inside of Tigray, and I have yet to see the same sort of breaking news in this push by some of these large media outlets to bring a light in terms of what is occurring inside of Tigray, and not just Tigray. There are some very significant things happening in other areas of Ethiopia as well. And again, it's something that is not being talked about much. Part of that is because the Ethiopian government is complicit. At the same time, I think the ability for people to report in states such as Myanmar, where the ability to record such acts and then to get it out is probably a little easier. It's a bit different, I think, in some of these remoter areas of Tigray, and we're just not able to see as much of it. We finally get it, and we finally do see it, but it's not as public and not as pronounced as what's happening inside of Myanmar. But it is much more significant in terms of the loss of life. In terms of a quick update for what is continuing, the status quo continues. Fighting continues all over Tigray. I would like to be specific in stating that there has been some concerns when I say fighting all over Tigray. The corridor from southern Tigray up to Mekelle is fairly secure. At least the big cities are fairly secure in terms of the Ethiopian army and Eritrean occupation. They've locked down those cities fairly well, and we don't see the same kind of fighting inside of the cities that we do in the countryside. Right now, the primary focus of the TDF, the Tigrayan Defense Forces, is operations in between the big cities. It is operations in the rural area, and to prevent the Ethiopian army from supplying itself. And then obviously we've seen operations take place in Amhara as well.